Hi, welcome back to the Slow Magic Challenge. This is day 4. You are practicing who you're becoming. For 12 days, we're interrupting the mythology of fast transformation and we're practicing another way, one rooted in presence, self trust, and small, faithful movements that actually have the power to change us. So, yesterday you named an adaptation, something that you learned in order to stay connected back when that was the safest, wisest thing to do. Today I want to actually take that one layer deeper. That adaptation that you named wasn't just something you believed. Eventually it became something you practiced. So if the adaptation was, I'm too much, maybe you practiced editing yourself. If it was, I have to keep the peace, maybe you practiced swallowing disagreement. And if it was, my needs are burdensome, maybe you practiced not asking. And here's the part that matters. Those practices then kept reinforcing the adaptation. The belief didn't just sit there quietly. It got rehearsed daily in 1,000 small moments until it became the person you understood yourself to be. So there's a philosopher, James K.A. Smith, whose work has stayed with me for years. His premise is this: we're not merely thinking beings, we're not brains on a stick who change by acquiring better information. We're shaped by repeated embodied practice. What we do with our bodies over and over forms our loves, our desires, and ultimately the kind of people we're becoming. This is why slow magic was never really about doing small things. It's about understanding that small things are forming you. So a 5-minute walk isn't powerful because 5 minutes of walking changes your life. It's powerful because of what you might be practicing through it, right? So I keep promises to myself. I can move without forcing myself. I can begin before I feel ready. I am capable of participating in my own life. That connects directly to identity level transformation. Not because the walk did something to your body, but because of who you got to practice being while you took it. Which means the hopeful disruption is this: if practices helped form the life that you're living right now, practices can also participate in forming what comes next. Not through Frankenstein-style behavior modification, not by forcing a new identity over the old one, through small, resonant acts that let another part of you begin having a lived experience. That is slow magic. So for 3 days now, your practice has been noticing. And you might be starting to wonder, okay, I'm noticing all this, but where's the real practice? But I want to say, here's the truth. Noticing was the practice. We're often so immersed in these ways of being, so fused with the logic of fast magic, so identified with the adaptation itself, that we have to separate ourselves just to see it all, right? So you can't choose a different practice for a pattern that you can't yet see. So up until today, the practice has been learning to see, being able to separate yourself enough to look at it, right? Today we begin to choose. So I want you to take the adaptation that you noticed yesterday and ask yourself 2 questions. First, what have I been practicing because I learned this? Then, what is one tiny practice that would give another part of me a different experience today? Not the opposite behavior, not what would fix the pattern, not something impressive, one right-sized act of practice. A few examples in case it helps you to kind of see the shape of it. An example would be, I learned I'm too much. I've practiced editing myself before I speak. But today I'll practice saying the full sentence once. Another example would be, I learned keeping everyone happy keeps me safe. I've practiced immediate yeses. Today I'll practice. Let me think about it and get back to you. Another example would be, I learned rest has to be earned. And so I've practiced finishing everything before stopping. So today I'll practice sitting outside for 5 minutes while something remains unfinished. And one more example, I've learned somebody else probably knows better than I do. So I've practiced asking outward before listening inward. But today I'll practice writing down my own answer before I ask anyone else. And I want to give you one important note with this. We're not evaluating whether it worked, right? Like, just notice what it was like to practice being this way. And I want to be really specific about that, because if you feel yourself wanting to ask, did this produce the outcome I wanted? Notice that too. That's the fast magic logic again. And it's still looking for proof that it worked before it's willing to trust the process. Today isn't about asking whether it worked. Today is asking, who am I practicing becoming? So I look forward to hearing how this is going for you. If you want to shoot me an email about what's unfolding for you, I'd love to hear. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.